Okay, well, I would like to get started today, and I would like to say welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Alyssa Rorick, and I am the Age-Friendly Program Lead here at BC Healthy Communities. We are excited to have you join us to talk about how local municipalities and Indigenous governments can build age-friendly initiatives that last, not by pursuing the next grant, but by embedding collaborative leadership and cross-sector partnerships into the fabric of community life. Next slide. Before we get started today, I would like to acknowledge that BC Healthy Communities resides on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen peoples, including the Wasanich, Songhees, and Esquimalt nations. The ongoing historical relationship with Indigenous peoples with the land is recognized, emphasizing that these relationships are not simply historical, but also continue until this day. So if you'd like to take a moment in the chat, you could chime in to where you are tuning into from today. Next slide. So a little bit about BC Healthy Communities. We are a team of planners, public health specialists, and community engagement practitioners operating at the intersection of planning and public health. Here at BC Healthy Communities, we believe that it is possible, and not just possible, but necessary to create communities where it is easy for citizens to be healthy and well. Which is why today we are having this webinar to engage in conversations focused on sustaining age-friendly community work, as this is critical to the part of making this vision of a healthy community a lasting reality. Next slide. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get into our presentations. Our speaker, Mario Perez, will do a wonderful presentation. I will follow up with some conversation about the AFC recognition that we have here in BC, and it will be followed by a Q&A. Please post your Q&A questions in the box, as we will be able to go through them one by one, and we want to make sure that all of your questions are answered. We also encourage you to use the chat throughout the webinar, engage in conversations as we speak. I would also like to announce that please turn off any AI recordings. This webinar will be recorded, and you will receive a link to the recording. There will also be multiple resources posted to the chat today. Please be rest assured and know that if you miss any of the resources, you will get all of them. Once you receive a recording of the webinar, you will also receive a resource sheet with all of the resources that we talk about, and will be posted in the chat today. And one last thing, at the end of the webinar, our survey link will be posted in the chat. If you could please just take a few minutes of your time, it takes at max 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes of your time. But filling out this survey we would greatly appreciate it. Your feedback helps us make these webinars better for you in the future. Next slide. So first, I would like to introduce our speakers, but our main speaker that we have today is Mario Perez. He is an associate professor at the School of Social Work at the University of Moncton and is a leading voice in social gerontology. For more than a decade, Paris has studied the Age-Friendly Cities program across Quebec, New Brunswick, and at the national and international levels. His research also spans community-based housing models for older adults and the intersection of climate change and population aging. Drawing on his extensive research, Paris will cover both theoretical frameworks and practical strategies for relationship building and shared leadership, offering participants tools that they can apply directly in their own communities. After Paris is done, I will then come back on to speak about BC's age-friendly recognition program and how and why you should apply if you are in BC. So, without taking any more time, I'm going to pass it over to Mario to start his presentation.
Great. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. For those who are in my timeline in the East Coast of Canada, thank you for joining this webinar. Thank you to give me the opportunity to talk about you on building sustainable age-friendly communities through partnership and community connection. That's great. Next slide, please. Great. I am honored to present my work on age-friendly communities, but above all, I want to recognize my many colleagues with whom I share years of research on this topic. Suzanne Garon, who is a professor emerita at Université de Sherbrooke in Quebec. She's one of the leading voice of age-friendly communities and cities around the world. Samuel Rémiard-Boilard also. She's an assistant professor at the University of Sherbrooke. Anne Veil, one of my close colleagues. She was a research professional at the Research Center on Aging. She did all the hard work when we do research. Suzanne Blanchard, she's one of my colleagues here at Université de Moncton. She's a full professor. I want also to recognize here in New Brunswick two community coordinator of age-friendly communities, Brindley and Gérard Arsenault. They are also the hard worker on the front line for the age-friendly communities here in New Brunswick. And my colleague is my last colleague is Magela Simard. She's a full professor also at the University of Moncton in geography. I worked with him in my last project with my SHIRK project. So just want to take some time to recognize them. With this quote of Kropotkin, mutual aid is the rule, the law of the progress. I set the tone of my presentation. Sustainability comes from connection and relation, not just money and policy. Next slide, please. To navigate this topic, I will guide you through 5 parts of my presentation. We will see the reality of our aging population, the evolution of age-friendly movement, a review of my past and present research on age-friendly communities. I will also propose my community building approach that guide me in my research field. And I will present some strategy to ensure long-term sustainability in age-friendly communities. So let's start looking at the demographic shift driving this movement of age-friendly cities. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next one. Thanks. Okay. First, I will go quickly with the demographic, but first we must recognize that the aging is a worldwide phenomenon. It is a global reality that affects every continent around the planet. According to the United Nations, we are moving toward a world where by 2050, 1 in every 6 people will be over of age 65. If we look at the absolute number, the data is even more striking. The global population of those age 65 and over is expected to double in just 3 decades, rising from approximately 700 million to 1.5 billion. So it's really a fundamental restructuring of our global society that would challenge every aspect of life. Next slide, please. Okay. Beyond just more older people, we are seeing also an aging of age. As the figure shown, the population of 60 is growing. The fastest growth in this category is the oldest one, the the 80 and older. By the mid-century, 1 in 5 older adults in the world will be over the age of 80s, which has significant implication for the healthcare and social services, but also for the urban planning. Next slide, please. So historically, we have associated aging with the global north. However, the developing nation are aging faster than the developed nation. often without the same infrastructure of social safety nets. Eastern and Southeastern Asia will see the most massive absolute growth, reaching nearly 600 million of older adults by 2050. Central and Southern Asia is also experiencing a rapid surge, expected to hit 350 million by the mid-century. While Europe and North America have historically had high number, regions like Sub-Saharan Africa and Northern Africa, Western Asia are projected to see their 55 and older population triple or even quadruple between 2020 and 2050. Okay, so next slide, please. And not least, finally, it is impossible for me to not recognize that the aging world will be set in a other world. So we must recognize the global warming existential threat that we have for the 21st century. Older adults are disproportionately vulnerable to extreme heat and climate events. This adds an urgent layer of environmental justice to our age-friendly agenda, I think. Just to give you an example, a person born in 1950 who turned to 70 in 2020, most of his life was spent in a relatively stable climate. In contrast, someone born in 2020, like my 6-year-old son, will spend his senior years around 2090 in a world that could be significantly warmer depending on today's CO2 emission. Okay, by the time he reaches the age of 70, he may face a global temperature increase of 3 to 4 above the pre-industrial level in high emission scenario, like can we see at the screen. So the age-friendly communities of the future must be resilient, not just socially, but ecologically resilient. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, we'll look at the age-friendly movement. Thank you. So, I think everybody know a little bit of age-friendly communities. The broad definition of age-friendly communities is a place where system, service, physical environment are designed to enable the older adult to live safely, independently, and comfortably while actively participating in society. In other words, it aims to recognize opportunity for health, participation, and security to enhance the quality of life as people age. It is a movement coordinated by the World Health Organization, like many people of you know, I'm pretty sure. It rests on mainly 4 pillars. One, it's transforming built and social environment for accessibility. The second, it's improving social relation and integration. The third one, it's promoting civic engagement. And the last one, it's driving a fundamental cultural shift in our organization view aging. You can move, you can go to the next slides. Thank you. I want to trace a rapid history of AFC because I began to work with the AFC at the early age around 2006. So I seen a lot of things around AFC at the beginning. So it started in 2002 with the concept of active aging. It was introduced by Alexandre Calaché. He was a WHO director responsible of aging at that time. And after that, in 2005, Alexandre Calaché hosted a World Congress in Sao Paulo, his native town, where they first outlined the AFC, okay, was proposed. At this Congress led to the Vancouver Protocol. It was in 2006, and it was under the direction of Louise Plouffe, a senior manager at the Public Health Agency of Canada. So Canada was really at the first stage or the forefront of age-friendly cities. In 2007, after an international comparison of 33 cities around the world, the landmark of WHO was established. The landmark of guide of WHO established the 8 domains of age friendliness. In 2010, following the growing popularity of the age-friendly movement, a global network was established by WHO. In 2015, WHO shifted its focus from active aging, that was been around maybe 10 years, to really now shifting to a healthy aging, okay, placing a practical emphasis on functional abilities. And in 2021, AFC, the age-friendly cities, become a central pillar of the UN strategy against ageism. Okay. When we analyze the age-friendly cities or communities like a social movement, we can see a progression of this movement from its emergence in 2007 to its institutional stage for almost 10 years now. But in 2026, I think we can easily ask, with the rise of illiberal democracy and the tension of climate change, will we face a decline of age-friendly cities or communities in the next year? You can change the slides. Like many of you already know, becoming an age-friendly city is not accidental. It's a standardized process that necessitates usually to form a steering committee, to conduct a need assessment, to create an action plan, and to do the implementation of this action plan. Okay. Now today, WHO situated the movement around 1,739 cities across 57 countries around the world. So it's a pretty much big movement. It represents over 370 million people. Okay, so it's really a global experiment, we can say. Yeah. Thank you. We'll go to the next slide again. Thank you very much. Like I said in the introduction, I start to my research on age-friendly city around 2007 when I was a postdoctoral student. Since then, our understanding of age-friendly communities is really built on decades of research. Okay. And in this vast research area, I have conducted some research. Okay, so I start from the with 7 pilot projects in Quebec in 2007 and 2013. It was the first project in Quebec. And we'll look like we did a research evaluation of those pilot projects. After that, we had major initiative. The one it's a age-friendly community innovation, who look at more 700 communities in Quebec to look more at their action plan to understand their innovation process. We did CHIR, age-friendly communities, on social determinant of health. We did also a project on what we call Abaisad. It was on housing, because when we look at age-friendly cities, usually older people are concerned about housing and living at home. We have some action on in the action plan. But when we look to the implementation, we saw in Quebec that the housing was always an issue on implementation. It was very difficult for the communities to implement the housing action. So we did a project on that to empower more the community, to give them some resources. And I did a recent short age-friendly community studies in 2019 to 2024 in New Brunswick with my colleague Magela Simard. We did some case studies and we look at all the community. We passed a survey also. So instead of going through the methodology of each project, I will point you forward to the scientific. I think they gave you some scientific paper on the chat there that you can find some funding. My presentation is based on those funding, or is like a synthesis of this or those funding finding. So there's two common elements that link those research projects. One, that they take place in a francophone community in Quebec and New Brunswick. If you didn't understand that I speak French, it's because you didn't have listened the presentation until then, because I have a beautiful accent. My son and my daughter always told me that. So, and the second element, they are based on a shared theoretical framework, okay, namely community building, okay, and their related approaches. So, since like 15 years, I always gravitate around the same notion of community building to understand age-friendly cities or communities. Usually, I say cities, but sorry, it's more relevant to say communities. So we'll go to the next slide. So what are the core principles of community building framework? I have intentionally used the French literature, which I have translated, to provide a perspective on age-friendly communities approach. So ENSPQ note that community building is a process of voluntary cooperation, mutual aid, and the building of social tie between residents and local institutions, aimed to providing physical, social, economic living conditions. Okay. It relies on three main principles. One is empowerment and participation. The other one is partnership and local collaboration. You have also the coordinated action. It's difficult to translate this word, but in French we call it concertation. It's really another level of collaboration. And you have also the last principle is an intersectoral action involving all local stakeholders. Next slide, please. Yeah, okay. Age-friendly communities rely, I think everybody knows, on a participatory approach. They must be for, but mainly by the older people and the community. It should promote a bottom-up approach with older people. It also revolves around the empowerment notion. I really like the definition of Bill Ninac. He was a social worker in Quebec. He defined the empowerment as a process to reach an individual or a community gain power over their own life and the capacity to exercise it. So the capacity to act for Ninac was really around three simple notions. The one was to have the capacity to choosing freely. After that, to transforming this choice into a decision. And the last one, it's acting upon one's decision. Okay. Essentially, when you look at the empowerment notion of Bill Ninac, you can see the age-friendly community process that represent a community empowerment through it's the social diagnostic, action plan, and implementation. Next slide, please. It is also important to distinguish between level of engagement in age-friendly communities. Like I said, usually we have collaboration. that is characterized by a flexible structure and does not necessarily require a shared objective among stakeholders. Okay, there's no common goal. They work, they will collaborate, but they have not a common goal. The second one is a coordinated action. It's more like I said, concertation. Coordinated action implies a more formalized, enduring relationship aimed at a specific common goal. And the last one, it's a partnership that necessitates a contractual framework where both organization or actors put resources and responsibility that are formally shared. So true sustainability in age-friendly communities require moving beyond loose collaboration to aim a formal partnership. Thank you. We can go to the next slide. I hope I'm not doing too fast. It's always the same thing. Okay. So now we're really at the main topic of this presentation. It's how to bring community building approach and ensure a more sustainable age-friendly communities. Okay. So the first one is the co-construction and the engagement. Okay, sustainability is not something we think about at the end of the process of age-friendly communities. It's really at its beginning on the first day of mobilization. So usually when we do age-friendly communities, we try to really have this mindset of participation of the communities. So we need to shift our focus from usually it's a simple consultation. Usually the municipality or the local governments will have a standpoint to consultate their citizen, but not really to have a deep engagement. Okay, do not allow them a deep engagement. Okay. So everything will rely around the steering committee, how we figure who is on the steering committee, what they are doing, what is their statute of the steering committee. When we empower older adults, because they are the main reason of age-friendly communities, and when we empower the older adult in age-friendly communities to be a co-designer, like by giving them voice or action during the age-friendly communities process. During the process, it is usually during the steering committee or the need assessment phase. When we share this place with them, they become the guardian of age-friendly action. Okay, age-friendly community action. Also, this grassroots ownership is what allow a project to survive political shift, because every 4 years everything change in Canada. So the age-friendly city, if you want to survive this political shift, we really need a grassroots ownership. It will also give them some strength when they have funding cut. Okay. Next slide, please. True sustainability is reached when age-friendly lands become a second nature, okay, or a natural reflex for unusual actor in the community. We can imagine like a civil engineer in the city. If he can have the lens or of age-friendly, it will give sustainability for the project. So to get there, we have to break down the traditional silo. I think everybody understands that the way we structure our organizational life, it's always around silo. And we need to break down those silos. We need to weave age-friendly community goals directly into the fabric of, I don't know, many departments of the city. Can be the public security, the urban planning, the public work, but we need to really to not limit age-friendly at one department or one sector of life in the community. It's we to have like a more big area. It's about pulling out resources. You can understand that. If we have many departments, many sector, we have more resources. We will share our facility or resources or expertise. So we can constantly, we are not constantly vulnerable to a single funding source or particular actor in the community. This creates a form of systemic resilience, okay? When a project is co-led by multiple actors, like a local department, like I said, budget cut in one sector will not kill the age-friendly action, okay? It survived because it's no longer just a project, an age-friendly project. It becomes part of the community infrastructure. Can go to the next slide, please. To truly endure these age-friendly community action must transition from the exception to the norm. Okay, they should be embedded into the recurring budget rather than relying on the uncertainty of special fund. Usually is what we see. For example, we achieve this by embedding age-friendly principle directly into like zoning bylaw or local strategic plan. If we can have age-friendly action plan, but if this action plan go outside its action plan need to be normalized around other plans, other like bylaws, it will become a part of the city and the community DNA. Also, it is important to use tool like a memoranda of understanding. So everything that can prevent the to prevent the institutional knowledge from disappearing. Because the staff, the member staff, the member of the steering committee, they will move on. They always move on. We always some change with the staff and the members. So when we have a memoranda of understanding how to work, what is it, and if we have the great good tools, the commitment will remain around age-friendly cities. Ultimately, research also, all the research area is important, is to prove that the prevention, because many of age-friendly action are prevention action, more like a social determinant of health, okay? So this kind of prevention will save money in the long run. So the classic, if we put, some bike lane, or if we put some pedestrian sidewalk, it will make people have an active way of life more than to put a road before the car. So it's usually when you look at the city, it's you need to have the shift of thinking to take about the long run. We're not just funding per project, we are investing in a more sustainable future for the entire communities. We go to the next slide, please. And at its heart, community building is about ensuring that the local network is robust enough to carry on an age-friendly process and action. Real sustainability means cultivating local roots. Okay, it's about mentoring small grassroots organization, being mindful of volunteer burnout, and is one thing that we see usually with all the volunteer organization is their burnout. So we have this kind of mindset to be mindful about them, and building vibrant community of practice. When I have the chance to present to the BSC health organization here around age-friendly city, it's really, from my point of view, it's one place to have a community of practice around age-friendly cities. When we focus on creating a capacitated community, a capacity that can choose, decide, and act, we are building a foundation that can adapt to any new challenges, whether it is social shift or, for what I think, the impact of climate change. Ultimately, success means the community no longer need an external consultant for every new step. Age-friendly communities have tool, confidence, and collective strength to lead the way themselves. Okay, you can go to the next slide. I think I'm good, yeah. So, reflecting on over 15 years of research and impact, it is clear to my point of view that age-friendly movement have reached a crossroad. There's a lot of age-friendly cities in Canada, even around the world. But today, the climate crisis is amplifying the vulnerability of older adults. Is presenting new challenges for city and communities that can no longer ignore it. We can think about heat wave, drought, flood, forest fire, and it is the more visible because there's a lot of issue around climate change. But I believe that the answer remain where it always been, in the community building approach and its participatory approach. Okay, now more than ever, okay, we must remember that mutual aid remains the law of progress. By standing together and empowering our communities, we don't just adapt, we evolve. So that's it. Next slide. It's always a thing in English. I think I'm going too fast, but it's go right. So thank you for your attention. I look forward for a discussion. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mario, for your in-depth and your background and your extensive and very impressive research, and also all of the helpful tools on sustainability, which brings the next topic for me and my presentation. Pat, we can go to the next slide on AFC recognition. So this is this next part a little bit is towards BC. Local municipalities and governments, where BC Healthy Communities now has the AFC recognition program, where this program is designed to help recognize and encourage communities to act towards becoming age-friendly. Involves taking action to meet the needs of older adults, helping communities remain welcoming places that help support healthy, safety, and engage people of all ages. Next slide, please. So the purpose of the AFC recognition program here in BC is to formally recognize and reward communities in BC that have completed age-friendly work and keep track of how many communities achieve AFC recognition status each year. And it's also to support and guide new communities. Maybe you're hearing this for the first time today and you're like, how do I even become an age-friendly community? What is the steps? What does it entail? This recognition program, we can find all the information online, but also it can give you a guide point of if you have never had any age-friendly initiatives, be like, where do we even start? We'll go through all the application steps later on. That'll be my next slide, but this program is to also provide maybe like a viewpoint or a goal point for those in local Indigenous governments who've never had any age-friendly work done before. So as well as recognizing and also encouraging new communities, the goal of this program is to build on momentum and to raise awareness of age-friendly principles and ideas in communities to help meet the needs of older adults and how changes can be implemented to support older adults' independence and healthy active aging. So the overall point is really to encourage communities to embed age-friendly principles into their physical and social structures. This is one of the most effective strategies to promote healthy aging. So kind of going off what Mario was just speaking is that it's not just one part of a municipality or local government, that there's a lot of different aspects, and it's important to also bring awareness to that to help build on it and maintain and raise awareness of age-friendly communities. Next slide. So why even apply to the program? Like what will this do for you and your local municipality or Indigenous government? When you apply to the program, an AFC recognition will grant communities an AFC provincial letter of recognition. You could print this out, put this in your workplace where maybe people don't know about it and they can read what you're AFC recognized, what does that mean? It could bring discussion and awareness to maybe other colleagues that don't know the work that you may be doing. You will also access a AFC digital seal that you use on community materials and websites. So the digital seal we have on our slide here, you can place that on any of your materials. So again, it can bring awareness, but also give you a nice little like, hey, encouragement that you are a BC age-friendly community. You will also be have recommendation by the BC Ministry of Health to be granted age-friendly recognition at the national and international levels through the Public Health Agency of Canada and the World Health Organization. You will also gain access to the network of other communities, domestic and international, to learn from colleagues and from colleagues in other jurisdictions. Next slide, please. So the application requirements. First, you need to establish an age-friendly committee. This means bringing together seniors, local government, community partners, people in your community. You really want to hear from the voices from the older adults to establish a community, to hear from them. The bottom-up approach is really what we're looking for here. Second, you need to pass a council or board resolution. This is showing that you could formally commit to becoming an age-friendly community. Third, you have to conduct an age-friendly assessment. So using your committee and going out and doing surveys, focus group, and consultations, you can identify the community strengths and gaps and barriers in your local area. And the last step is, from everything that you learned from your assessment and your working group, you develop and publish an action plan. So you set the priorities, you set the actions, the responsibilities, and timelines to help establish AFC priorities in your community. So just a little side note for anyone who has ever applied to our Stream 1 grant, or maybe you were waiting for an application, we are in the depth of adjudication right now for our current AFC grant stream, or our 2026 grants. But those of you who have completed a Stream 1 grant within the past 5 years, or are looking to complete a Stream 1 grant with us, you will meet all of these requirements to apply for AFC recognition through one of our Stream 1 grants. That being said, you don't have to get funding from us to do all of these steps. Maybe you have a really strong advocate in your community, or you're doing this AFC work without our funding. That's amazing. We love to see it and hear it. These are just the steps that need to be taken place to apply to the AFC recognition, regardless of our funding. Next slide. So some quick application tips is to really focus on the 8 WHO focus areas for age-friendly communities. The 8 of them include outdoor spaces and public buildings and transportation, housing, social well-being and participation, respect, social inclusion and cultural safety, community engagement and employment, communication and information, community support, and health and wellness services. The big other tip is to really involve older adults in subpopulations, whether it be Indigenous communities in your community, newcomers, different ethnicity minority groups, or those who have physical or cognitive disabilities, those who are very isolated in their community. Hearing for them is very important when you're creating your plan. But also to make your plan larger and include other members, say social service providers, businesses, other what Mario was saying is not to be so streamlined, but to bring others, organizations, and parts into your plan as well. So just a few application tips. So we'll go to the next slide. So after recognition, what happens? We really strongly encourage, after you get recognized, that we hope that the tools that we can provide through the recognition letter, the digital seal, and some networking opportunities and the supports for funding visibility, that granting this, that we look for communities to implement their action plan, that these supports from the AFC recognition program really encourages communities to stay in contact with their age-friendly work, update their priorities in time, and the progress will be reviewed to ensure continued impact. So building off of what we have talked about before in our presentation today is that our goal with the AFC recognition program is that it won't just say if someone, you have a wonderful community leader in AFC recognition in your local municipality or local Indigenous government. We love to see community leaders and community like superstars in AFC work, but once they leave, we don't want that work to stop. So we hope that this recognition program will embed the AFC work in more than just one person, but then also multiple aspects in your community to keep it moving forward and keep it rolling over years to go, and the plan can be updated and new things will come. So that is what we hope for with the recognition that we give you, but that it'll also encourage more AFC work down the line and sustainability. Next slide, please. So here is just a little screenshot of our AFC BC or AFC recognition website. The link will be posted in the chat to our website, and there you can find all of the information that I spoke about today. You will find some background information, application tips. We have an FAQ on there, and we also have our application, which we put into a really nice form that should be very easy and seamless to work through. Okay, and also on that website, you will have a list of already recognized AFC communities, so you can look to see if your community is recognized. So next slide. That concludes our presentation aspect of our webinar today. I would like to thank everybody who came, but also please, this is your time to post any questions in the Q&A chat or the Q&A, and we will take a couple moments to have some questions come in, and then we'll start facilitating some questions. Okay, I see a question here. My community is already recognized an age-friendly community, but from all the research I've done, it looks like this all took place in 2019. Not much has happened since. Can it be refreshed or reignited? Unfortunately, because you've been, not unfortunately, this is great. I'm happy that you are an age-friendly recognized community already. As the fact that you were already recognized, we can't necessarily re-recognize you, but you can send us an email through our age-friendly BC at bchealthycommunities.ca, and I can maybe forward you some materials, but also the new digital seal that you can use. And maybe we could discuss some ways to kind of relaunch AFC recognition and bring that back into your work to highlight the work that you are now doing now and have it be relevant. Okay, I think, okay, great. We're getting some questions in. I'm just going to make sure we're in line. Okay, is accountability simply encouraged, or is it measuring impact required to remain accreditation? Accountability is right now simply encouraged. This is something that we are looking for now that we have the AFC recognition program, something that we would like to do is create almost a maintain, not a requirement to retain, but encourage to maintain, and maybe a group to encourage maintain accreditation. That is a new part that we're going to be thinking of, but right now accountability is simply encouraged, and we will be looking to expand that part of the program moving forward. I see there's a question here looking for ideas to promote and transportation in rural and aging communities that depends on cars and trucks. Um, that is a really important question for AFC communities in regards to, I know rural communities have higher needs for transportation. Unfortunately, that is not what this webinar is speaking on, but I would be happy if you email us. We can provide some resources for you and maybe some previous webinars or topics to help cover that topic.
I just want to maybe something about the transportation in the rural area.
Yeah.
What I saw in the past year in New Brunswick in the French community, because we all the northern east of the what we call the Acadian Peninsula is very rural and isolated communities around. If you don't have a car, it's very difficult to move between cities. And what they did, they didn't think about the issue as locally, so how can my town go to another town, but really by the region. So we have a structural here commission for the region, and it's the one who makes some partnership with community organization to ensure they give a little bit of money for that, but it rely on volunteer to move the people around and coordinate that. But I think you need to don't think about the local issue, really a regional issue for transporting rural transportation. There, it's really the number is the strength for sure.
Yeah, thanks for your input, Mario. That's super helpful. The next question we have here is developing a community of practice, a part of the work of AFC BC. Right now, we have a community of practice if you receive one of our grantees. So if you receive a grant with us, we have a community of practice with all the grantees. We do not yet have we don't have developed a community of practice for just the AFC BC recognition. As we are relaunching it and getting it back started now that now that BC Healthy Communities has it. However, I think this is a really great idea. And once we get momentum and we get some more updated contacts from the previous AFC recognized communities, this is something that we could definitely look into and do for sure. That's a great question and idea. Okay, Mario, we have a question towards you. As a researcher in the dementia-friendly community space, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how this might have most effectively relate to the age-friendly movement.
Oh my God, it's a good question. What I saw in my years of research on age-friendly cities, it's we don't own, the age-friendly process and all this kind of approach because we see now, like you said, like age-friendly dementia. We have like age-friendly hospital, and we have I think WHO have also a program now on it's not age-friendly, it's more kids-friendly communities. So the thing, it's the all process, and I think with this kind of similarity between us, I think we can talk to each other. We can, like I said, the number is the strength. So I know some communities have difficulty to have many plans. So it's all sectional plans, yeah, for older people, for family, for people with dementia, for public health, and they have maybe more big city, but they have like 3 or 4 plans. And what I saw in maybe in the recent years, it's they put all the plans under one. It's kind of effective or interesting because you can talk, but the problem it's really difficult to answer that because the problem is always if we put older people with kids, which one will have the priorities. So it's not a perfect solution. I think in kind of resources, yes, but I saw some cities who were just like found age-friendly approach with other topics, and we just lost older people issue. Um, I think I hope I answer a little bit, but that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mario. I have another question here. Many years ago, my community had an AFC of which I was a member. I'm going to assume here that he means like an AFC group or an AFC working group or community group. Unfortunately, short after its inception, we were forced to liaison with an unpopular member of council, so it fell apart very quickly. Can it be reinstated, and is there a concrete desire to do so? Yes, absolutely. Even if a AFC group may have not seceded in the past, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Maybe hopefully this webinar can encourage that to make a new group or establish a new group and to expand it, or maybe meet more often, or include more people in more organizations, maybe more businesses, more people, and expand the working group as well. To be a good idea. All right, I'll wait a few more seconds for any last questions that we may have. Okay, wonderful. I believe we have answered, I'm just going through our Q&A and our chat, all of the questions that we have got today. Thank you so much for your questions and your interaction with our webinar today. I hope it was very informative, and I hope it encourages you to go do AFC work. I would also love to give a special thank you to Mario for coming on today and to doing this wonderful presentation. And lastly, before everyone leaves, there will be a survey that's posted to our chat. Please, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes of your time just to fill that. It'll be at the very max 5 minutes, but it helps us get feedback to create these webinars that are best for you. So again, thank you so much for coming today. Special thank you to Mario, and we look forward to our next AFC webinar.
Yeah. Thank you very much also.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.